Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Silver production is down in Peru. The upside could be near for the white metal. Let's explore. Indeed. One could make an inference that production being down should be bullish for silver, but nonetheless, as I've mentioned in a prior video, demand or supply might not necessarily drive the price. There's going to be other factors involved as well too. Again, the silver market is very it's not easy to kind of predict. And gold really isn't as much either, but gold is far more predictable in this case. But let's take a look here about what this story is about silver production being down in Peru. Almost 10% in February of 2022, according to the Ministry there of Energy and Mines. Silver production in Peru, which is the world's third largest silver producing country, was 242,849 kilograms in February of 2022. A decline of 9.6% compared to 268,732 kilograms mined a year earlier in February of 2021. Minem said that the decrease was mainly due to the lower silver production volume reported by Compañía Minera Ares, SAC, and Minera Chinalco Peru, SA, and both of those had showed losses there. At the company level, Compañía Minera Antamina SA was the largest silver producer in Peru, accounting for a 17.1% share of the country's total silver production, followed by Compañía Minera Ares SAC, which is 8.6%, and Volcan Compañía Minera SAA, 7.3%. At a regional level, Ancash maintained its first position, accounting for 21.3% of Peru's total silver production, followed by Pasco and Junín. So that's less silver being produced in February of 2022 compared to last year. Still a lot of silver being produced, but what has been reported and predicted is that there will be a shortage of silver for all the uses needed. In fact, we know in terms of physical bullion out there, it's a little difficult with delays in shipping to get the product and the stuff out there. But there is potentially an upside for the price. An upside is likely. We're referencing an article here from investing.com, which means that story as far as production of silver could translate to an upside movement in price here. Silver against the dollar has had a lukewarm start to the quarter, like various other industrial commodities, and hovered around $24.60 for several days. Fundamentals are generally mixed, with hawkishness from the Fed amid high inflation priced in. At the same time, uncertainty remains around possible further European sanctions against Russia and ongoing anti-COVID restrictions in important Chinese industry centers. Simple way to look at silver is that it hasn't gained as aggressively as gold in reaction to the war in Ukraine. It moves mostly due to mostly different drivers from those of gold. Its popularity as an investment does remain high, but again, as we've mentioned before, just because investment demand is high does not translate to higher prices, or at least not as much in terms of the spot price movement. In terms of the physical price that you pay for the physical rather, that is going up. Those are premiums. And you're seeing some reward of that when you go to sell, at least to some extent, not as much as many people think it should. In other words, the chasm between the premiums you pay for Silver Eagles compared to what you get if you were to sell your Silver Eagles is wider than ever before. And with generic silver, it's much more in line, or privately issued silver. But nonetheless, what is going to be happening here is, as we see anti-COVID measures relaxed in China, combined with a possible renewed focus on inflation, that could drive the price higher more readily than gold. But it's going to be a while because we're hearing that Shanghai essentially has shut down due to COVID there, and that could have a dramatic effect. And, if you get into some technical analysis here, the 23.6% weekly Fibonacci retracement area seems to be an important support, and which the price is likely to decline unless there's a significant net inflow of selling volume. And the area around $24.60 was the peak in the middle of January, and the source for the fake out on the first day of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And in fact, as I record this video, silver spot price is around that same level, $24.60 some odd cents. So, and we'll see there. So there's an upside, but I think it may be tempered a bit especially with supply chain issues having an effect and demand for silver for green technologies and other things like electric vehicles and chips and industry is not as much. It's not happening as much. So that is not going to put any pressure on the price, on the spot price for a while yet. So this upside could be near, but near may be a year out. It just depends on how this whole COVID situation looks out as this next wave is making its way. And again, it's how the market reacts to that in terms of production, and the economy reacts to it in terms of production of chips, of industry, solar panels, electric vehicles, and the like. So nonetheless, that may be one of the reasons why silver production is down, because they didn't really say exactly why it's down. But nonetheless, I think it's a good idea for us, those of us who hold silver and buy silver, to keep that in mind. I know my local or one of the coin shops I visit, they had ran out of some silver that they had. I was able to get some and called about to have them save another bar for me, and it was already sold, literally within 2 days of getting it. And some of the stuff comes in and goes very quickly. People are buying it up, and because they know that it is essentially it's a good store of value in a long enough time. The silver is a metal that you buy and hold for the long haul. It's not good to play around with it. Trying to track the market, you stress yourself out over that type of activity. I just am of the mindset, unless I need to sell it, I'm going to just hold on to it. But there's where it is. The gold to silver ratios is still high, and the prices are low enough, and people are buying it, and they're seem to be okay with the premiums as people still keep on buying. There's certain silver that I won't buy, like Eagles, because of those high premiums and knowing that you're not going to get it back out when you go to sell it. But some people are okay with that. But nonetheless, and there's where we are at with silver. These 1,000-ounce bars that you see, that is kind of the standard de facto 1,000 and 5,000 ounce bars. And this says 5,000 grams, so it's a little bit of a different size there. But nonetheless, these kind of bars are what are traded on the COMEX, and not very many people see these come available. They're typically not right at 1,000 ounces. They're a little bit over or a little bit under, but they have the purity, and different manufacturers make them. And we have seen cases where some bullion dealers will actually have them for sale, which is pretty interesting, pretty amazing that you can actually buy one of these bars, 72 pounds in your hands, if you can lift it. But there it is. I've seen one in a coin show some time ago, but it's not the most practical way to hold silver, in my view. But some people like to have one just to say they've got a COMEX contract size bar. And those contracts come in 1,000-ounce sizes for these bars, or 5 bars for a 5,000-ounce contract. Pretty interesting. I still think there's some upside for silver, but the timing of it is anybody's guess considering what's going on. And again, that one article being written before this new COVID stuff came out in Shanghai that was reported lately. So very interesting indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are below. I think it would behoove us, for those of us who have interest in silver, and even I bought a little bit recently. I'll more on that later, but I typically haven't been buying as much silver as of late. But it's good. It's probably healthy for us to not have our expectations too high for silver at this point. I think it's a pretty safe assumption to bet. Safe assumption is as I and many others feel very frustrated by the silver markets. There that is. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.